Hey everybody, Heather here. So, quick blurb for the store. I threw a bunch of stuff in the clearance section, so head over there and check that out. There might be a few things you need in there, and there is a link down in the description box to the store. So today we're going to be coloring this cute Stampin' Bella image called Lolly and her Brolly, and I've already stamped her on Nina 80-pound solar white cardstock with my Memento Tuxedo Black ink. So let's color. So first off, I'm going to do a quick outline of my image using C0, and I'm just going to start down here at the grass, and I'm going to work my way all the way around my girl and just give it a shadow. Make sure to get that little dot of hair she's got there. And then I'm going to do her umbrella. So I'm going to do the little stick. And I'm not being too careful around that lace there on the umbrella, because I'm going to later go back, and when I'm all done I'm going to add some stickles on there. I just want to go all the way around my umbrella. I'm trying not to get it on the lace, but if I do, I'm not going to stress over it, because you're not really going to see it after you color it anyway. Okay, so I went all that way. Let's go down this side. And we want to go around this flower. And again, if I get some gray on my flower petals, I'm not going to worry about that either, because I'm going to color those purple, and that will cover that up for the most part. And work our way down to this side, and go down on the bottom here. Get her little stick legs. And then she's got a little space here in between her legs too. I'm going to go ahead and color that. And down here in between her boots. Whoops, sorry, down between her boots right here. And then up here, I'm going to go around my little snail. Like that. Now, let's give her something to stand on. So for that, we're going to use G99 and G82. I'm going to start with G99, and I'm going to go up here, and I'm just going to do a little bit underneath of her boot, like this, and then I'm going to draw a line underneath this grass, right like that. And I'm okay that it's not perfect. Same thing for this side. I'm going to go over here, draw a little bit out here. And then for our snail, I'm going to go underneath my snail and draw a line out. But I want to do a little bit more out here. So I'm just going to kind of willy-nilly, let's just say our grass kind of goes like this under our snail. How's that? That's not too bad. Then over here, I want to extend this line for her boot just a little bit. Maybe bring this down. Bring this side over a little bit more, like that. Then I'm going to take my G82, and right over here for my snail, I'm going to just draw some streaks of grass. And there's already some grass there for me, so I'm just kind of flipping over the top of it. And then down here, I'm just going to add some grass out like that. And same for this side. I want to go ahead and add my grass streaks up here. And she's got a little patch of grass right here between her boots that I'm going to just go ahead and color in. And then we want to get these grass streaks. And then again, I just want to color right over the top of this green. And just spread that out. Give it a little bit more substance there. Next, we're going to do her skin, and for that we're going to use E21 and E00. And we're going to do, let's do her legs first. So I'm going to start with E21. And I'm going to go up here and let's do a little bit underneath of her little skirt, that lace on her coat. And then I'm just going to very carefully, because her legs are really skinny, go down to the bottom here. Same thing up here. We're going to go underneath that lace. And then let's go down the inside right here. And then I'm going to fill them in with E00 because there's not much space left there. And we'll do this side. And then we're going to go up here and we're going to do her hand. She's got a little hand that's holding the flower pot here. And those fingers are pretty skinny, so that pretty much filled them in. And we'll do this hand. And let's go ahead and do her neck. And she's got a little poke of skin there on her chest. And then for her hair and her face, or for her face and her ears, I'm going to do a little bit on her ear. And then up here on her face, I'm going to start right there. And I'm just going to curve around over here and go underneath of her bangs. Like that. Then I'm going to take my E00 and I'm going to fill in the rest of these fingers and her hand. And then, of course, her neck. And then we're going to go up here and just fill in her face. And it's really small, so that's why I didn't worry about using my 3 colors today. That was plenty of color. Okay, so now I'm going to do her cheeks. So I've grabbed R20, and I'm just going to give her a couple of circles for cheeks. Like that. And then I'm going to take my E00, and I'm going to lightly just flick right over the top of those. For her hair, we're going to use E25, 23, and E21. I'm going to start with my E25. And I want her, she's got a little part right here. So I'm going to go ahead and just take my pen and add some little flicks right there at the part. And then I'm going to flick up right here from where it kind of tucks behind her ear. And then her little pigtail, I'm just going to add a little bit where it would kind of attach to the back of her head there. And then same for this side, we're going to give a couple of little flicks away from that part. I'm not that good of a flicker that way, so I'm going to turn my paper a little bit. And we're going to do right here behind her ear, and then again up here in her little ponytail, where it would be, her little rubber band would be attached to her head there. Then I'm going to grab E23, and we want to go add some flicks on top of these. And up here in the ponytail. And I'm going to take E21 to fill it in. I'm going to do this little ponytail, so I'm just kind of going along the edge because I don't want to go out of the lines. This little spot there. Alright, and then after I get it all colored, I get my E25 back out again, and I put some streaks back in. So I'm just going to go up here, right off of that little part. And I don't care when I'm doing the streaks if they are exactly on where they were the last time. I try to pull them down so they're down a little bit more. So next, let's go down here and work on her coat. And for that, I'm going to use Y38, 35, and 32. I'm going to start with my Y38. And I'm going to, let's do this side of her jacket first. So I'm going to take and do a little small line right underneath of her collar. And her collar I actually left white. And then we're going to go right down the seam like this, just so I don't color anything else. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the bottom of her sleeve and the inside of her arm, like that. Okay, but I'm going to turn her like this because I want to flick away from this line a little bit more. So I'm going to go up here, and my pin's more at a sideways angle now, so that when I put my pin down here at the line and flick out, my hand picks up, so it's a lot skinnier out at the other end. Now I'm going to go with Y35, and I want to pull that out just a little bit more. And I'm actually going to fill in this side where her arm is, where her sleeve is. And I'm just going to bring this color out like that. And then same for right here where this little ruffle is. I'm going to fill that all the way in. And then let's just brush out like this. And I'm going to go over it again, so I'm not really worried about it being blended all the way. But I also want to do a little bit right on top of this color, right like this. Okay. Then I'm going to take Y32, and I'm going to go down the edge of her coat so I don't go outside the lines. Let's get this little spot. And then let's brush away from the edge towards the middle. And then I'm going to repeat the process. So I've grabbed Y38 again. And this time I'm going to flick a little bit further out past where I had the Y38 the last time. And let's do her sleeve a little bit. And then Y35. And then fill it in with Y32. And again, I'm going to go back towards the middle so I don't go outside the lines. And let's get up here along the top just a little bit. Okay, that looks good for that side, so let's go do this side. So again, I'm going to start with Y38. And I'm going to go right next to the collar here. And I'm trying not to color the collar because I'm going to leave that collar white. And then I'm going to go right down the seam. And then it bumps out a little bit right there. And then I'm going to turn it sideways so that I can lay my brush down more at an angle and flick away from that. And she's got a little bit of her coat sleeve showing right there, so I'm going to do a little dab right there. And then Y35. And again, let's flick out here. And again, I'm going to go over it again, so I'm not worried that it's not blended. And then Y32. And I'm going to go ahead and quickly go right down the side here, like this, just so I don't color outside the lines. That way I can just lay my brush down on that line and pull back like this towards the middle part. Okay, and then to go over my second time, I'm going to grab Y38. And again, I'm going to brush past where I laid my Y38 the last time. And then Y35. And then Y32 to fill that in. Like that. So I'm also going to use this down here on the top of her boots. So I'm going to take my Y38 and I'm going to dab each little side of her boot just a little bit. And then she's got a little bit that shows on the back. So I'm going to go ahead and fill that in where it would be the inside of her boot. Like that. And then Y35. And then fill it in the rest of the way with Y32. So as long as we're down here, let's go ahead and do her boots down here with our reds. And for those, I'm going to use R39, 37, 35, and 32. And I'm going to start with R39. So I'm going to go ahead and go down this side of my boot with my edge of my pen. And she's got a couple little creases here on top of her boot, so I'm going to go right over the top of those. And on this boot, I'm going to bring it around to this side over here like that. And then for this boot, I'm going to go down the inside. And again, she's got a little bump right here, a crease. I'm going to do that. And then this one, I'm going to leave a little bit of white down at the bottom for her sole, because she's got a little rubber. I want to put a sole on the bottom of that boot. Then I'm going to grab Y37. And again, I've laid my pen kind of sideways so I can flick away from that line and my hand automatically lifts up just a little bit at the end. I'm going to turn it this way so I can flick away from these boots. I have to go away from me. I can't, not talented enough to flick going both ways yet. And then I'm going to grab R35. And let's see if I can do, I flick better when I turn it sideways here. Like that. And then I've grabbed R32. And do this side. Oops, gotta be careful up here at the top. Like that. Let me turn it this way so I can see this side over here. This way too will keep me, if I turn it this way, I won't hopefully go out of the lines. Okay, now this boot I think needs a little bit more color, so I'm going to take my R35 and I'm going to flick right out from the very edge over this way, and while it's still wet I'm going to grab my R32 and brush those together. And I've went from the outside to the inside so I don't go out of the lines. And I think I'll do the same thing on this boot. So I'm going to take again my R35 and go right from the edge and pull into the middle there. And then take my R32 and go over that little line there on the edge. And then for the sole of the boot, I'm going to take E44 and just fill that in. So let's work our way up. And so let's go up here. And she's got just a little bit of her dress showing in between her coat. So I'm going to take R35 and I'm just going to fill that in. Right in here. I'm just going to stop right above where there's some little lines for her lace right there. And she's also just got a little dab of her shirt showing right here above her collar. There's also a button right there that we will color when we get the browns back out. So next, let's go do this cute umbrella. So for the umbrella, we're going to start with R39. And I'm going to take my R39 and just go down that line. And I'm actually going to go right down this line. And I'm going to do the inside of this one just a little bit. Just up to where I did the dress stop the last time. And then for this little spot up here, I want to do on the outside of this one. Okay. And then I'm going to grab R37. And I want to add a little bit of to that. So I'm going to put my pin down on top of the 39 and just pull out just a little bit more. And the same for this one. Let's go ahead and pull out a little bit further because that umbrella piece is a lot bigger. And then this one, I'm going to go a little bit on this side. And, whoops, let me turn my umbrella a little bit. And we're going to go a little bit on this side because these ones are kind of skinny. And then, of course, the same for this way. We're going to add just a tiny, tiny bit on this side. Okay, next I'm going to grab R35, and we're going to add a little bit more on top, but I want to leave a little bit of white on the edge for my R32 on this one. And let's flick this up a little bit more. I'm going to leave some white in there for our R32 on these. And this one, I'm going to go ahead and pull this one way more up. And then, of course, a little dab on this side. And then I'm going to take R32 and fill that in. So I'm going to go up here. And I'm going to pull it towards my red because I don't want to go out of the lines. I'm just going to go up here and go like that. And this one we don't have to worry, so I'll just go like this. And I'm actually going to go over that again, so I'm not worried that it's not blended all the way. And I'll get the edge of this one right here. Okay, and like I did with the boots, I'm going to take my R35 and I'm just going to go back and from the edge of my R39 and just pull that color back on. Let's add a little bit more on there. Whoops. Got a little bit on my light color. Okay, and then we're going to take R32. And we'll soften that up with this one. There we go. And because it's still wet too, it's blending really nice. So now let's go add some dirt to our pot, and for that I'm going to use E44, E43, and E42. And I'm going to start with my E44, and I filled in the whole section of the pot. You could also paint some of it colored if you wanted, I just didn't bother. And then I'm going to grab E43, and then I'm going to fill it in with E42. And I also use these colors for the center of my flower, so again I'm going to grab E44, and this time I just went over these little lines that the artist already put on here, like that. And then I'm going to take E43, and I'm going to go over that. So I'm just going to make it a little bit wider. And then I'm going to fill the whole thing in with my E42. And I kind of swirl it around, kind of mix those colors up a little bit. And then to give it a yellow tone, I took my Y32 pen and just went over the whole inside, like that. Then let's jump down here real quick and give our snail a body. So I'm going to take, again, my E44. Let's just go along the edge, maybe along the edge of that. And then 43. And then I'm just going to swirl over that whole part I colored with my E42. Just blend it a little bit better. So next, let's go ahead and color the snail's body since we're down here. And for that, I'm going to use BG 72 and 70. I'm going to start with BG 72. And it's got a little swirl here. I'm just going to go ahead and color right over that swirl. And I'm going to do a little bit down here by this brown. Then I take my BG 70, and I'm just going to swirl over that color, going in a circle, and fill the whole area in. But then I'm going to go back and do it again. So I'm going to grab my BG 72 and go over my swirl, add some more on the bottom, and then take my BG 70 and just kind of swirl over that. That'll darken it up just a little bit. Like that. And we're also going to paint this cute little flower pot. So for that, we're going to use BG 75. We're going to add that to our other two colors. So I'm going to take my BG 75 first, and I'm going to add a little bit along the edge of this side, and a little bit over here, and then I'm going to go down the edge of my flower pot. That, and then I'm going to go to BG 72. Let's leave a little bit of white there for our 70. And this side, for the bottom, I wanted it to be darker, so I didn't leave any white. And then I'm going to fill in this little white space with my BG 70. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to do it again. So I'm going to take my BG 75. And then BG 72. and then BG70. And this time I'm going to go down here on the bottom just to soften that edge and just go over the whole pot a little bit. Okay, that leaves us with this flower up here. And so for the leaves, I'm going to use G82, and I'm just going to color those in. You could put a little bit of the 99 in there if you wanted to. They're just so small, I'm just going to go ahead and color them like that. And then for the flower petals, I'm going to use V15 and 12. And I'm going to take my V15 first, and I'm just going to give each little center section a little dab. And then I'm going to go over it with V12. And I think I want to darken those flower petals up just a little bit more. So I'm going to take my V15 again, and I'm just going to leave that like this time. I'm just going to give each little center a little dab, make it darker. Like that. So that was we've colored the whole thing. So here is our colored image of Lolly and her Brolly. Isn't she cute? Totally adorable. And then here's the finished card. And actually this stamp set comes with a little sentiment too, so I stamped it on a separate sheet and I stuck it up, I popped it up on the top of this. I have used some Ranger tumbled glass distress ink on the edges of my colored image so it could be blue. I put some pearls up here, and then I took my stickles and I put it on the lace on their coat and on her collar, and then up here on the lace on this and on her hat. And then I took my Wink Estella glitter pen and I put some down here on my snail and on the flowers and in her hair. And then these dots, whoops, I forgot to do those on the colored image, I'll go back and do that, are the 100 pen and my white Sharpie paint pen. So let's do that real quick. So let's see what I do with it. So I'm going to take my Sharpie white paint pen, and I always shake it with the lid on, and I'm just going to give my girl some dots on her coat. Like that. Oh, I better do a couple on her sleeve. Okay. And then I'm going to take my 100 black pen. And you want to be quick. You don't want to be taking forever holding your pen down, because the longer you hold your pen on the paper, the darker your dots and the fatter they're going to get. So we're just going to go like that. And willy-nilly put them wherever you would like. So I think that looks pretty good, like that. I'll close up a little bit for you. So just like that, I added some dots in there. But again, here's the finished card. And I hope you had fun coloring with me today. Head over to the store and grab yourself a kit. And I'll see you next time. Have a great day. Bye.